There are a lot that are very good. But if you're going to do the audit, you gotta have your antenna up. Where's the audit going? You know? If there's a long break between calls with the agent, and all of a sudden you can't find the agent, that's an indication there's a problem. It's a real indication there's a problem. It's when an agent goes away for a very long period of time, you call them, they don't get calls back, they could be talking to CID. So, you gotta have your antenna up about this stuff. Have to. Okay, now the next big topic, I gotta let him in. What if I don't let him in? We don't eat.
Then we don't eat, yeah.
We don't get pizza.
You don't get to eat if you don't let me eat.
All right, I'm gonna do one more point, and then you can all eat. And if you want me later, I'll continue and show you the rest of this stuff. But this is what happens. Client account privilege, 75-25.
I just heard it.
Did you just hear it? Now you get my take on it. What do you have? What do you have in client account privilege? You know what you got? You got malpractice. That's what you got. Okay? Why? Why do you have malpractice? Because when you speak to your client, that only applies in a civil context. How do you know when you're doing a tax return or giving tax advice that this case is not going criminal in 3 years, in which case the privilege breaks? You don't know that. So the privilege you got back in 1998, it was in response to me, because I have a full privilege. Okay, and then the accountants wanted that. So AICPA lobbied Congress, and this is what you got. You got malpractice. Again, you don't have anything really, because you don't know. And for an accountant to be involved in a case that I'm going to get involved in, you have to do, you just talk about Covell accountants?
Yeah, that's coming up.
Okay, that's coming up. So here's the brief Covell account. There's a case set in New York in the early 60s, Second Circuit. And what it says is, if I hire the CPA, and the CPA is there to give me tax advice, not tax advice, but to guide me, because I'm not an accountant, he comes under my privilege. And so he's cloaked in my privilege. So the client can speak to that forensic CPA, generally he's a forensic CPA, because he's helping me go back through the books and records to see what's wrong. He's cloaked in my privilege. Now, as long as I don't do, or he doesn't do, anything to break that privilege, which means inconsistent with the privilege itself, if you file a tax return, there is no privilege, none. Okay? Because again, the return is meant to be read by a third party, namely the IRS. Privilege breaks. So a Covell accountant works under my privilege. There's a special letter that lawyers do, which outlines the responsibilities of this Covell accountant. And what you can and cannot do, which is essentially nothing unless it's under my direction. That's called a Covell account. Lawyers use that all the time. We hire them all the time. Because I'm not an accountant. I don't have the software. I don't speak your language.
Let's do this. Bob, if it's okay with you,
It's okay
take
with
a 10-minute break, and we'll pick up, and Bob, we insist that you take a slice. Covell is, by the way, spelled K-O-V-E-L, for your notes, Covell. And for the proposition that tax returns are not subject to a privilege, there's a case called Frederick that we're going to be looking at. Frederick. So there's, and I'm going to distribute, Bob, just so you know, I'm going to distribute a sample Covell letter.
Okay.
So why don't we we'll go take a 10-minute break, guys. Restroom break, pizza break, and then Bob will pick up right here. Bob, grab a slice.
No, I really don't.
All right.
Example
So
of a questionnaire that accountants give to their clients.
They don't get the bonus.
I believe that guy in the front.
They do it in the private house.